We would like to hear from you about your journey in the tech and the digital banking industry.
The projects are like 100, 400, 2000 CR. 1.5 year, I did around 18, 19 deliveries in the banking ecosystem for DCB Bank. India's first Aadhaar-enabled ATM, omni-channel architecture for bank. So this kind of innovations I did with the support of all of our internal team members and our partners. The intention is that learn the technology, but how to create center of excellence within a bank or within our organization. Getting into RP or blockchain and other, is it going to solve some business problems or operational problems and so on? And how do we do that? This is very, very important. The era is not of competition. Era is more or less collaboration.
Thanks for agreeing and then really giving your valuable time to Automation Age and for this interview. So this is typically like the combination of saying like your background, your experience, and that it contains the things about your leadership, your vision. It talks about like how when the digital transformation in the banking, because like you come with that kind of like the background, and then what are like the emerging technologies, the innovations, and then thinking about, because you moved from the banking to fintech startup, etc. So we're talking about that stuff, and then the questions around the regulatory and the compliance, the perspective, future of the technologies, and then we are talking about like the strategic, the initiatives and the innovation frameworks, etc. And then governance advisory role you have been playing with various company. And the last, not the least, but it's talking about like your personal insights and the future, etc. So this is like in nutshell. I thought I just summarized how the interview or the questions are going to be like here.
Sure.
So no. Yeah, so therefore to start with like the background and the experience. So maybe we would like to hear from you about your journey in the tech and the digital banking industry. What initially attracted to you to this field? Because once you pass out, you do your graduation, post graduation. But what has like the excited and why you are inclined towards this tech and digital and the banking industry?
Okay, so I think thank you so much, Mr. Prasad, for inviting me here, this thought leadership series which you are doing, and I congratulate for what you have done in the first edition with the industry mentors from banking industry has given their valuable insights. It's like more than reading many books. The ground level experience comes from their day-to-day operations which they have depicted. And in similar lines, I would like to be part of this, and let me see how I can give a good support justice for this series so that it goes to those hundreds, thousands, lakhs of people through your digital media, either YouTube or in a print. And people should leverage on this experience and build a better banking in India around the world. So I think to begin with, I graduated in engineering back in 2000. And just like some other graduate, I had opted for a campus interview at TCS. But I think I came out of TCS maybe in 1.5 months because it was like it's the same thing what I have learned during engineering. So that they asked me to do same thing. Like I was like, I think this is not going to help me based upon my aspirations. I wanted to be something like innovator, like how the people like Bill Gates or on those lines we used to think. How can we make a difference? Although it was little immature, but my intention was there to do something differently back in 2000. So with that line, I started doing a lot of freelancing, or I would say supporting big companies like NIT, Aptech those days, and I was in Pune, so some of the big logos I worked there as some of the projects. But by I think 2022 August, I got an outside opportunity. It's not an outside of India, but for a company where I was doing some consulting, they said, "Can you work on some project which is in shipping in Mumbai?" And that's how I moved from there to Mumbai, and I entered in Mumbai in 2022, 21 November, and I worked on that project single-handedly. That has given me confidence. I can whatever I learned during my engineering days, designing and development, testing, everything single-handedly I delivered, and it was well articulated, well supported by founders and the teams who has utilized it. Right, so that has given me confidence. Yes, I'm doing better. 20, I think I joined company called Technimont ICB, which is
Mhm.
a Milan-based IT. I would say it's a company like EPCs, engineering procurement. The projects are like 100, 400, 2000 CR those days. Imagine. And my work was there to do design and development for any of their engineering operations. Say it could be piping or labor management, tender management, and so on. And I wasn't aware this is something. I just wanted a something stable after doing so much of work at that Mumbai that office. I think best part of Technimont ICP was it was not a pure play IT company. So I had a free hand, full hand to learn anything and execute those things in the day-to-day operations or those projects. So that has given me a hand that I have worked on Oracle, Java, Microsoft Stack, embedded stack, almost all stacks which a developer should know. Typically in IT company, what happens? Either they go only in Java stack or Microsoft stack those days.
Mhm.
And nowadays, if you see, people go only in backend or front end or full stack. So imagine I was full stack for at least four areas: Oracle, Microsoft, Java, and embedded system. That moment, and I wasn't aware how it is going to be helpful for me. I just went on learning those things, and best part, whatever I learned, I have implemented there. So Microsoft.NET, I worked some projects on corporate resource planning at Italy, and tendering system. I worked for all many projects wherein the tendering happens multi-vendor, so that is being utilized. Complete asset tracking on embedded systems. That I've done it for many projects outside of India. The software being utilized and while most of my work was aligned with the top management of those companies, the technical others, so that has given me liberty to how do you engage customers, how do you talk to them, how do you engage. So well, there was no book or tutorial. Now you are a client side. It has happened just like that, talking to the customer, and it was well, right. I used to be always honest, give feedback. It will happen, not happen. And I was then in Milan for some years until 2005. I came back and I was just started looking at the industry, how it is going on, and I discussed with my supervisors. Yeah, I think I'm more into engineering, more into piping, and whatever IT I have learned, I have done it, I think, enough. So I think in my scale, I should move to a pure play company like Infosys, Mastech, where I can do designing and do the end-to-end projects. So I think on those notes, with the support of my the earlier management Technomod, I moved to Mastech.
Mhm.
So Mastech, I was part of a project called International Personal Finance, which that's how my finance journey has started out there. And until that moment, I wasn't aware there is a domain called finance, and I'm going to work on that. So I was a designer per se, how to design those systems. So imagine we are giving loans or microfinance, and the whole process around that onboarding customer, collection process, everything was aligned that moment in a 7-tier architecture, which was written in a VC plus in VB with the teams out there in Leeds and in Mastech. Being a designer, I used to work on new designs, new system designs, and my forte, which was having knowing know so many technologies. So, and I never know that I was a collaborator. I was
Mhm.
always a techie guy, and as we always discuss, Prasad, I think that aptitude started with collaborating in a Mastech, because Mastech was having so many projects, and they had a one central unit called as a technology cell, tech cell, and the most of this project used to send their queries and needs in the tech cell, and I think 30 to 40% those queries used to be resolved by me, because
Mhm.
those were into different projects, different technologies, and I used to be just like that. It's something in Java, just like that, something in Oracle, something in smart cards, or something in embedded systems, barcodes. So that inclination that people have seen me, I am contributing heavily out there, and wherever I'm going in those projects. and talking with them, coming back. So they asked me, there is some position in UK as a technical architect. Will you be able to go and give the justice? So while I was there, so I went there in Leeds on this international personal finance project only. And imagine with the existing technical architect, the British technical architect, I think I spent a lot of time. So fundamentals of technical architect, how to design a multi-country system, multinational systems, company systems. So I think those I did it. So imagine those time I did collections on the mobile phones, right? Collection system back in 2008 on the smartphones, and I did a centralization of 7 countries. The project was on SQL Server, centralization of all the 7 databases, so that we have a more of automation, less of handling so many datas. And then I did one more project, which was like data movement from one country to another country on SFTP based, the whole concept. And so from designer, I moved to actual delivery also, sitting in there. Yeah, so that has given me a lot of edge within 2 years. While imagine it has happened within 2 years, whole Mastech knows me. There is so-called Prasanna exists in IPF project, and he helps many other projects. So I think, and there was a crunch time in 2008 in financial ecosystem when I was in Leeds, and that has given me little another side. There is a family, we need to take care of that. Let's go back and see some other job. And I came in 2018 November back in India, and within 1 month I got an opportunity, and I wasn't aware whether what kind of opportunity is there. Mr. Satish Rao, who was the CTO at Venture Infotech, called me and said, "Will you join?" Within 2 days, I was there in that office, and I joined with all formalities as Mastech and in the Venture Infotech. Then I realized Venture Infotech is a pioneer company in payments in India. Like one of those first cards or point of sale and all of that. And I thought it's a good opportunity to learn what happens for banks sitting outside of the bank. So imagine we served almost all banks for merchant acquiring. So if we see the canvas, merchant acquiring where we onboard merchants, and the card issuance where we onboard retail customers, issue those cards, and the transaction happens from this point of sale, goes to the transaction switch for those merchants and for the system. And at the end of it, there is a process called reconciliation, settlement, dispute management. So all that canvas landscape I have observed as a domain. And I then got an opportunity to scale it from old technology to new technology. So if you ask me today, can you design payment gateway, transaction switch? I can say yes, it's in my mind. We can do that kind of stuff. And imagine today the way we see fintechs and all, those are those business model which we created back in 2008-9. I was there in Venture Infotech, predominantly took over by Atos Worldline. Now they call it as a Worldline as a brand. So there I learned whatever we serve to the banks sitting outside of the bank, transaction switching, card management, point of sale, India's first PC POS, India's first MPOS, India's first EMV card, right? Though I was EMV certified. I used to do almost 70, 80,000 cards for State Bank of India. So we did a lot of operational automations. I think that moment, a lot of new banking started. We'll not say digital banking, new banking, business correspondent banking, or the rise of NPCI back in 2008-9. IMPS system started coming in. So I think that has clicked me. This is something very magical. I should be around banking and payment, but I think I should be in bank, because the ways I used to interact with the SBIs and other, they will be like always authorized. They will have another story, right? So they used to drive. So on those notes, I think 2014, I joined a bank, DCB Bank. So although I had a lot of offers from many Kotak's or Yes Bank, Barclays, why I chose that bank, I started going back to that bank before I joined bank. I joined bank in around 20th of September. But last 4 months from June, July, August, September, I used to go every Saturday, interact with their top management, MDs, CIOs, CTOs, and that has given me edge to see what is the banking environment all about, including operations, tech, and all. I was part of a technology team. During my interviews, it was a very magical moments. I have interacted with Mr. Venki and Mr. Murli Natarajan, and they have given me some of those tasks with an authority that will you be able to make us digital bank, or will you be able to create one of those few of those path breaking innovation? Nothing has happened in the banking ecosystem. And with that aspiration, I joined DCB. as a channel head, and within 1.5 years, I did around 18, 19 deliveries in the banking ecosystem for DCB Bank, their mobile banking, internet banking, API banking, which was not there. Like imagine the bank in 2014, nothing was there, and within 2 years we had that whole roadmap, what to do in the to move from bank 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0, and it is not something I was aware. So the environment, the kind of a culture we had, the free hand, go research around, do something new, as well as while you run the bank, change the bank. How can we change the bank also? So I think there I started many programs. I created digital unit. I created Innovation Carnival, which is a industry-led ecosystem program where we had 60 partners like Microsoft, IBM, NPCI, other banking NBFC like Mahindra's. And that has come, that attitude to collaborate with the ecosystem has started coming in. While I delivered digitally, one more important aspect I would say, there are many stories at DCB Bank, at every company which I have seen. But few thing is like stakeholder management. How do we do that? Like my top management always taught me technology will come and go, but you need to take care of all the your stakeholders, internal as well as external. Be around that, everything will be easy. You don't have to take stress. And there are many stories where maybe I would say Prasanna 1.0 back in 2014 till 2016, and then I was changed because of all the support of leaderships. So how to be around, go, and instead of giving stress to the other team members and say, let us do delivery, how to take everybody along in and out. So that is like leadership lessons I have learned very heavily in the DCB Bank. In an Innovation Carnival program to go in Vizag or Maharashtra government, or we started Bank Chain, India's first blockchain consortium. So that has given me a lot of confidence I can drive ecosystem national level. India's first Aadhaar-enabled ATM, omni-channel architecture for bank. So this kind of innovations I did with the support of all of our internal team members and our partners. And best part, being in the ecosystem, all those pillars, how to take care of people, customers, adopt new technologies, keep automating, working with fintechs, or best part is compliance and regulation, what it is all about. And I have faced almost every year, almost 10 plus audits by RBI or many others. So that has made me very strong. While we talk in the public, in many conferences, I spoke maybe 500 plus. But whatever we talk, it is well supported by our practical experience, sitting in the data center, sitting among operation guys, sitting along with CISOs, sitting with board members, sitting with the customers. So at all levels, I've done banking. So that's the story I did until 2022. And while I was there, many other bankers asked me how you're doing this, what. And so that has given me edge. I can do consulting kind of a work. So I joined my hands with Mr. Chirag, who is a founder at a Blockstack. And we are building some layer one blockchain around that. So on those lines, we are doing a lot of magical work, various state governments in India, outside of India, part of many national forums like FICCI or ASSOCHAM, ICC, NPCI, IDRBT. So, and I think when you talk about blockchain, India Blockchain Forum, which I started, we touch upon every pillar. I would say what every founder is doing in India around blockchain technology, it's on fingertip. That's the ecosystem I have created in the last 2 years. So I think that's the story. While tech is there, my main forte I would say is around innovation, which is like keep innovating for a finance with the help of tech partners and with the help of your skills and other mentors and other people like us who are there in the ecosystem. It's not something which I can solve. So how everybody can come along with us and do the innovation. So I think that's in nutshell, Prasadji. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's there are too many things like to talk about you. So as I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can talk whole day. I mean, the kind of the innovation and kind of the things you have delivered in the respective companies you have worked, and then having like the exhaustive experience across the fintech, the microfinance, the companies. But like with your 24 years plus experience, and then in engineering, that you played the hat of like the management, the innovation, collaboration, etc. So which moment you would say like which would define or you think like the proud moment or the achievement of your career? What is that moment? Like, I mean, can you just throw some light on it?
Yeah, I think so. Every organization goes from one orbit to another orbit, right? So, like in India, there are many banks, many fintechs. Every bank has its own orbit. Look at SBI, look at DCB, or look at HDFC, and so on. And when I was a delivery manager or digital banking head back in 2014, 15, 16, I was always challenging myself, what is next? What is next, right? And in one of those conversations, when I was part of internet banking migration, very old style internet banking to the FEBA, Finacle e-banking architecture we were doing. And the project was almost over. And I did that India's first Aadhaar-enabled ATM. Imagine without card, you go and just put your thumb and you can take out the money or do any of those ATM operations. It was inaugurated in one of our office, like to some customers to see how it works. And officially on we inaugurated on 17th April in 2016
Mhm.
with Nandanji. Mr. Nandan Nilekani was
Nandan
there at
Nilekani,
one of
yeah.
our branch, and he was like mesmerized. Okay, I have created Aadhaar for some other purpose, but what you
Purpose.
have done, that gives me thinking I can do many things on top of that now.
Mhm.
It's not something I will just use it for UID as identification. I can do payments, I can do many other things which I will do. So that's the trigger we had given in 2016 to him. And you can see many such innovations which we have seen now, where Aadhaar is part of that. So that could be his gesture to say, while he must be having that inclination, there are a lot of things to do. But on the same line, when I was thinking myself, but at that level, he can think that way. What is that I can do for
Mhm.
us, for a bank? So with that vision, I went to my bank management, like CIOs and MD, and well supported by Mr. Samir, who was our CTO that moment. Can we start an innovation in it? And I'll come out of everything and I'll just do innovation and never know what is output of innovation, right? With that thought, we said, okay, we start innovation with one member team. That's me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And only one message which I got from Mr. Venki: do something better, which is not done by any other bank, so that people should remember this, whatever you are doing. Uh, so I think I went around many bankers like ICICI Bank, Bank of Baroda, Mahindra, who are having innovation cell or innovation units or innovation officers per se. And I came back. I think it took 2 months for me to derive what is that I'm going to do in innovation. So I
Mhm.
created that framework, right? So that is how I started creating frameworks. So for any digital banker around me, whenever I meet, I always say, whatever is your experience, put it in your best practice or your own framework and give it to the world. So innovation framework around new technology, what is coming in new, uh, and what is innovation within existing business model, change request, what is that you're going to do? What is there for people in the organization, right? And what is there for infrastructure in the organization, maybe ESB. So these four steps innovation, which if you start looking at very deeply, it has so much power to move organization from maybe orbit one to orbit two, right? So that's how I created and presented to top management, asked for some money based upon my detailed plan, ROI plan and all. And I think I used to publish innovation index of a bank,
Mhm.
where we are compared to other banks. Imagine no experience in consulting anything, and this all coming from our own brain. Or I used to take the same innovation into others, Motilals or other banks also, and they also started looking at that. And through these conferences, I started giving what we do in the
Mhm.
DCP, what others should do. So that way, I thought came, let's start a innovation carnival, which is like a open ecosystem program where around our problem statement, like authentication or onboarding, how can we onboard new partners? So
Mhm.
around 18, 19 themes, we started this website, Innovation Carnival, and people started looking at people, partners, IPMs. So who used to come and meet me in the bank? I used to align them as a partner. So I had around 70, 80 partners like Red Hats, IBMs, NPCI, and all of that. And the budget of that whole program was, imagine back in 2017, 17 lakhs. And I have
Mhm.
spent only 12 lakhs to do that kind of a national level ecosystem program. And we used to do around 10 hackathons we did in Gurgaon or Bhopal or Bangalore or Hyderabad, Pune, Bombay. And wherever we used to go, we used to involve local branches, our own branches, local mentors, local experts, local fintechs. Imagine at every location, we used to have around 300 to 400 people talking around banking, talking around how to solve. And that too, they used to sit for 30 hours continuously. And how much output is there for a bank like us? We had around 60, 70 projects at the end of 5, 6 months. And we have taken them as an opportunity to do those innovations. Now imagine if I drive this similar manner for a industry or for a country. So that is like an innovation hub led by RBI. So that kind of a roots I put in front of RBI, in front of a consortium back in 2018-19. Today we see RBI Innovation Hub or every company has an innovation hub and all of that. So that's the thought process I was carrying that moment. While we are in the ecosystem and we're happy to see how ecosystem is moving, IBDIC, which was a out failure of a bank chain, is IBDIC. So I think there are many path-breaking industry-led consortiums or being part of account aggregator as a DPI, as one of those DPI, few of those innovations, being part of a UPI's initial momentum in 2016. So I think this gives me a lot of satisfaction. And these challenges me, oh, yes, I have reached here. And how do we go to the next level? Next level is very beautiful, which we'll talk yeah.
I think it's getting quite interesting, and I think So as a leader, I mean, how do you approach? Like you already like spoken about like the driving the transformation in your organization, and you talked about the UPI, several others say, but like the particularly like the areas like the blockchain and the emerging technology. So how do you do that? I mean, approach to this driving the transformation in the your particular area.
Once again, I think again hats off to my management who has given me free hand to learn, and it's our appetite also being coming from that techie background. So one of those days I was sitting with Mr. Samir, who is my CTO, and Mr. one more person, right, Mr. Amit. He used to run a company called Let's Talk Payment. Later on, it converted to Medici, and they were talking about Bitcoin. Imagine it is 2015 November. They were talking. I was just looking, what is this Bitcoin? How come I don't know this technology? Right. So that moment I started learning Bitcoin. Then I found Bitcoin is a one use case, just like a mobile app or something. And then other technology is a blockchain. So while techie guy, I think that moment I used to keep eye on one framework, so-called people, process, technology, external forces, and internal forces, and partnerships. External forces is regulator, fintechs, and internal is your customers. Third angle, which is technology angle, I had created my own framework around. Every year I should know these 8 technologies. Maybe that moment my 8 technologies were mobile or social media, APIs, AI, cloud, data, and blockchain. Maybe today we talk what I will add on, maybe metaverse or 5G or quantum or something. But that moment when I was looked at blockchain, while the intention is that learn the technology, but how to create center of excellence within a bank or within our organization. So coming back to your question, so it's very, very important why we are getting into RP or blockchain and other. Is it going to solve some business problems or operation problems and so on? And how do we do that? So start with small, right? That's what I can say. Create the right governance. While some companies or banks may not be in favor to put some investment to create a governance, adding those RP officer, blockchain officers, and create some kind of a center of excellence with identified use cases, do some work with partners, POC pilots. It takes some time and money, right? So coming back to this, through Innovation Carnival program, I did various virtual COEs. While nobody's around, I used to manage that whole process as a COE for RPA, blockchain, and AI. Now, coming back, how organizations should look at, they should create a good governance with 3-4 people, with one good guy, team lead who knows area and who knows domain also, as well as who knows how to stick around that technology in the bank, like around business and what processes we are going to change and so on. he will be the good leader. And let us choose that leader not from outside, but choose the leader from inside. Never ever hire a leader on new technologies from outside. Right? That's what because you can always learn the new technology sitting inside. But that experience which comes while talking with your people, while handling those processes, while handling those systems, you only know. You can't ask somebody outsider to come. It will take for a year, 2 years for him to learn those. So always take an insider guy who will lead any COE, say it's RPA COE or blockchain COE, and so on. And that is what I learned from my managers. While I would say, let us hire somebody, they said, no, I think you should go, if you are doing operational COE or RPA COE, you should have some operational head who has experience to operation. He should lead all those use cases. Second best practice, which we see that while blockchain can change foundation drastically, blockchain is a foundation tech. The way we do payments today in last 50 years, it changes without any reconciliation, without dispute management, without any of those intermediaries, so-called MasterCard, Visa, and NPCI. Imagine I am going to change all of them in a day two. It is not practically possible. So how do we do? While the journey is 5 years down or 3 years down the line, choose a smaller use case, which is not going to touch your core use case or core operation or core business model, and teach them to the other stakeholder management, right? In any project, you have maybe business guys, followed by tech. Within that tech, IT, maybe developer, designer, and tester. Then in banking, we have additional security testing, compliance testing. Those sign-offs also required. Your infra team should know what is this new technology, how are we going to deploy, aligning those external partners. So do that thing with smaller use case, right? While vision is having India's own KYC on blockchain, or vision is complete fraudulent management ecosystem coming on blockchain, or having a digital currency on blockchain. While I can tell another 300 use cases in banking, how banking will move very drastically. But take smaller use case. And as I said, in the blockchain, there are 4 types of use cases. Like one is a within organization use case. Second is a consortium use case where like-minded organizations, like-minded banks coming together doing that use case. A cross-border use case from one country to another country use case, and a national level use case. National level use case may be Aadhaar or DigiLocker or UPI coming on blockchain. Cross-border may be passport or your cross-border payment coming on blockchain. Or consortium is like a lending or a co-lending or AML KYC coming on blockchain in that consortium. And smaller use case is a organization level. How I am safeguarding my organization. Blockchain is having those peculiar characteristics, like anything written inside blockchain cannot be tampered. Or if you have to tamper, you have to tamper all those previous records, which is technically not possible in current algorithms. And looking at that angle, taking a smaller use case where most of the challenges around regulation and audits, and they say your data should not be tampered, it should be encrypted, your packets or your integrations with your fintech should be secure. So I took 5 use cases, very small use cases, and well supported by CISO and my team members. Opening up ATM, right? There was a mandate to say that there has to be automation in opening of ATM. Earlier process was writing in a ledger register and all. Me and supervisor both are going, they will write and they will use that key and open the ATM, and then all operations will be done, like putting cash or taking out any of those cassettes and something. And while RBI said it should be automated. So what we did in-house with the help of one partner, involving only branch and CISO, less of stakeholders. And it's like a generation of a password. It's called as a one-time combination. One part goes on mobile to me as a supervisor and another to my subordinate. And we go and put that password on that digital locker on an ATM. If you put it within 30 minutes and beyond 30 minutes, it expires. And we have a complete trail who has generated the password, what time he has generated, why he has opened ATM. So imagine everything is automated and a smaller blockchain use case. And now my CISO know how to sign off. My designer know how to sign off. Few of my compliance guys know how to sign off a blockchain use case. Typically, this question will be asked by many bankers. Have asked me, "Hey, you are working on blockchain, but as an auditor, how do I sign off? Or as a security guy, how do I sign off?" So those peculiar best practices. While you have SDLC plus B because of blockchain, what are those extra things? So I created that framework sitting in there. Use it for an inspection process. So there is a process like if you give a loan on mortgage, You have to go on the field and do the field inspection. People just go and say, without going also say, I have went there. But going there, taking a photograph, put that photograph in a blockchain, that timestamp, nobody can tamper. And for RBI, they said, wow, you have done a very good job. You have done literally complete automated that process. Another few of those processes like which we have done is employee onboarding on blockchain, right? So we created a pseudo ID for every employee. Imagine if I translate this use case type 2 consortium, where other bank also come. I suppose a Prasanna is going to HDFC Bank. He cannot go to ICICI Bank same time, right? So that kind of a stuff. So I think these are smaller use cases. And so that's the best practice. Go with a small. Third, identify a lot of partners in that area. Like say example, RPA, if you say, while I can work with a partner, you need to have a longevity to work with the B, C, D,
Yes.
because the same use case can be created,
Repeated.
designed, defined by different partners, different way, and the cost will be different, timeline will be different. So that kind of a center of excellence you need to create. Or you go with one partner, say example, Automation Edge, who has a liberty of choosing partner, or they have taken experience from all the various partners and created their product in a such a way that for smaller use case you don't have to use a big model or a big features. You just add in and your work starts. So that kind of a work, do some kind of a calculations, how many processes should come in a RPA or a blockchain center of excellence for initial 6 months, later 6 months, and keep reviewing with that governance structure. Give those outputs to your top management board members, how much you have saved. And that, I think that gives a lot of confidence to run any COA. Keep eye on what new things are coming in that technology. Like blockchain is a very fast technology. While I started back in 2016, there were hardly 3-4 companies. Today we have at least 500 plus good companies around that. While we are one of those. While we may used to say layer 1, which is a blockchain's platform, like we have Windows, Unix. Layer 1, we had a very few, 2, 3. So today we are creating one layer 1 called Diamond Tech, which is a hybrid layer 1. I would say it is a world's first hybrid blockchain which we are creating for public as well as a private use cases. And it's all our experience from our founders, our tech team, which is coming, and we are presenting it in front of world next year, while we are building many other futuristic model on that. So I think one thing is last important thing uh, is like why we call them as emerging tech, which becomes a normal tech after some time, or a deep tech. These are those foundational technologies. They changes your operations from scratch, right? Like KYC process. With the blockchain, you don't have to do re-KYC again and again in another bank, right? You do one KYC, that KYC can be utilized based upon my consent. Now your models are changing, operation models are changing, your financial products will change because of this. So very important thing as a product guy, business guy, you need to keep an eye because of this technology, what is going to change in the next 5 years, and use that now, practice it out smaller, bigger way, and be the leader in that area. This is what we have learned from HSBCs, Citibank, JP Morgans, right? They are doing some fantastic work which Indian banks will adopt in the future, which we could have done with the own pace and something like that. I think that's a big learning. It is not India led, but looking at the whole world, how they adopt new technologies. Like now there are many more such technologies which we are not adopted, like metaverse, right? Gaming, entertainment industry has adopted real estate or retail, but why we are not done? Only Union Bank or PNB has done, but majority of some of the banks are working on it. So what is that needed? Like example, if you come up with a mobility or internet technology, we created those guidelines, internet banking guidelines, mobile banking guidelines. Then we started banks to implement them. Why not we create some of those guidelines which are backed by digital assets, which is futuristic product? Why don't we create some guidelines for automation, right? How much to automate? Why don't we create those guidelines while utilizing AI? How do we have a better LLMs or any of those areas? So I think that's a view, industry-led view. While you create your COE within your bank, you need to create those, I would say, COEs, or I would say consortiums. I think RBI is doing good job. RBI has a DLT committee, AI committees, automation committees, which gives a good view. And even now around these problem statements, so-called technology-led IFSCA, RBI are helping banks. So last thing, you have to involve all your stakeholders, fine, but sitting in a glass houses, you have to assess technology very well. If you are utilizing that technology, should not create a gap. So we bring technology, we bring another technology to safeguard that technology. So while doing this, I think we need to keep creating those guidelines with the help of a regulator, and then we can be always in a good shape. But whenever we adopt new technology, we need to take risk. Unless we take risk, that technology cannot become normal technology. Yeah.
Correct, correct. It's like the risk and rewards, like
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yes,
that's how it
absolutely.
like works. Like
Yeah.
those who take the risk, like they get more rewarded. So
Yes.
I mean, I think it's a good insight. So like, given your role, I mean, you playing the role as a coach, as a mentor, as a tech builder. So what are the qualities you believe are essential in nurturing the next generation of the fintech leader? So like,
I think good to see that future of work is changing. Maybe because of internet and maybe because of too much of data utilization. I think the generation gap. I think today we have a various generation, and generation gap is quite small compared to earlier 20 years or 40 years, so on. So I think when we create a future leaders, we need to think like that. We have to unskill or unlearn some of the things and relearn something more, right? New technology, new tools, how to be on Teams, how to be on some of those Zooms, or how to be on Slacks. How do you respond to them with authority as well as understanding their pain points? It is very, very important. While the leadership which we have seen in the past, Narayan Murthy's or Nandanji and others, I don't think that kind of a leadership will be created now, right? And I think that's the alignment these new age leaders should look at focusing. Any of those new leaders coming in, can we integrate some kind of integrity, trust? Those things are very, very important. Today, generation is little agile. While they learn themselves many things, the outlook or anything, everything is little agile, little fast. So I think those are the things I always, with our own examples, we teach to our team members so that they may not be the 100%, but at least 10-20% they can learn from those experiences, look at their deliveries first time, right? Take everybody along, uh, collaborate, right? While the work is given, don't look at just it as a work. Look at some out of box output, how we can bring it on there. I think these are the new things which these new age people should know. Now, for that, what I have done, we do startup graduation programs. We did at least 30 colleges. I did in 17, 18, 19 IITs, IIMs. So, what industry believes and what industry is looking forward from them when they enter in the industry. So, within a day, we should teach them everything, right? How they should talk, how what are technologies they should know, what is that there for them in the bank, what type of roles are there, how they should nurture themselves, so that once they enter in the bank, their internship and should allow them to be a very smooth launchpad. They act like as if they are the team members. Similarly, how like example, every year I publish this what banks are looking at in 24, and now I will publish maybe in the down the line, we end of the year, what banks are looking at in 2025, or what are those trends in Web3 or blockchain with the. So there we invite a lot of young leaders. We take their lot of inputs, their ideas, and we involve them as if they have created that, right?
Mhm.
And that's how they learn also what is that they need to take part in 2025, what they should look at. And those leaders are within my company as well as outside of the company also. That's one thing which we do. And idea generations, like idea generations from the employees within a idea generations from externally. So I think this is very, very important. The era is not of competition. Era is more or less collaboration. uh, it's very, very difficult to say era is of collaboration, but if you really switch on your competition mode, you will immediately feel like I think you need to collaborate. And the
Yeah.
way there are so many business models around us for fintechs, companies who are driving, who I think fintechs have done majorly good job in 2014, 15, 16, 17, and those are quite matured fintechs. But maybe suppose there are 100 fintechs that time, I think 70 has vanished, or
Mhm.
maybe 80, 85 have vanished now. And these newish fintechs, now they need to learn. from that exercise, while they have a good business model, good product, good tech company, but they should have a quite sustainable, resilient organization structure, governance, process, compliance, security. The way our RBI governor announces, let us create resilient banking with the help of better finance, better organizational processes, operational processes. I think these fintech leaders should learn from banks, right? Banks may take a lot of time to build something, but it is prevalent. It is long term. It is not something like they create or Jupiter and
Okay.
they created some NBFC and some model, and a lot of challenges are coming and it goes down because non-compliance. They are not taking care of data handling, data protection, and many of those stuff. So I think fintech as tech and product companies are wow. They can always complement with the bank, but they should learn this compliance, regulation, all those best practices. They should hire those skills and mentor, take some mentors who has done some this kind of a work in those in the banks and move ahead. So advice for those newish students or candidates coming out, they should do a lot of internships. They should try to create a startup within 3 months and fail there and learn how to run a enterprise or a unit within the next wherever they are doing job. And advice for fintechs are the startups align with some better governance. They can always run against business, but are they really doing resilient long-term business, long-term technology stacks? Are they hiring good people, retraining them? So I think those are the things which will help them for a longer run. Now, last advice for everybody out here, right? Today, because of the communication, which was 1G, 2G, and now 5G, everything is around us, right? I can talk to you, sir, through email. I can talk to you through some WhatsApp. I can call you. I can SMS you. So there is too much information around us, and there are too many ways to work from morning to evening. During COVID, we thought we have done too much of digital transformation, but post COVID, I think stress has increased. At that index of stress has increased in people, and it's the job of HR or some of those engagement people within organization how to create a work-life balance and how to create a vision towards sustainability. Looking at 17 sustainable goals. In any of the operations, in any of the work, they have to take care of work-life balance along with their families and with less of stress, more of a work proper management, and how they are participating into some of the CSRs, NGOs, some of those sustainability activities, taking care of clean water or green energy and so on. I think those are the inclinations. Tomorrow's unicorns will be green energy led clean tech because that's our need. And these fintechs are not going to do, or any of those startups are in this. So I think that's advice to the future leaders. While they are doing current operations very nicely, look at 5 year down the line or 10 year down the line, which are those new technologies are coming, need of a world, need of a country, need of a people around, and build those innovations today. So I think that's how we aspire from that. I think existing companies coming out doing it, it's called as CSR. But how to do foundation change can be done by tech companies or new age companies. So I think that's the advice while they are into day-to-day computer science engineering or chemical engineering. I think it's a high time to look at the future of work, how it is going to be. It is going to be connected. It is going to be very resilient. There will be different jobs, creative thinking. I think jobs have changed. What jobs were in 2000, now 2010, and now in 2030. So on those lines, students should look at. And this leadership has a lot of age. And this is in my limited knowledge what I'm saying. Definitely, when we discuss with more leaders, I think we also change. Like during internships, I used to do some program that we used to ask those interns what I should do for next 1 year or 2 year, looking at you being a customer. I think it's a both mutual. While I'm talking for them now, it's for us also to learn from students and learn from young founders, young fintech founders. I engage a lot. Almost I engage 10 conversations minimum with the fintech founders, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And that gives a lot of satisfaction. Yeah.
And I think the Prasanna, the one valid and very important point you have highlighted here is like, I mean, as you rightly said, like this fintech founders, this young generation, they come with like the kind of the innovation, but
Yes.
they should really like have like the, I mean, consulting or like collaborate with the people like you, or like who are
Yeah.
coming with exhaustive experience in the bank or the respective organization, where the compliance, the regulatory, the experience, the discipline part, I mean, where they are lacking, will get like the compensated with. And then the innovation plus this experience and compliance and regulation comes in picture together, then definitely like the result or the output is going to be much superior, much better. Like, but I think I like the point. I mean, I think, I mean, it's a definitely like a different thinking which you have just put it here during this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So really appreciate that. The next one is like considering in your view, what are like the most critical steps like in executing successful digital transformation strategies for the
Yeah.
bank? So like what, I mean, how do you, I mean, like put up those strategies like the successful?
Yeah, I think I will give a lot of credit to all my those tech sessions, which panel discussions or keynote sessions, which I have done with many of my conferences, starting with 2015, 16, 17, and so on. So many bankers have started their journeys of CDOs or digital officers and so on. In my view, digital officer he looks at the company in a different angle. He should know what is as a canvas, what is happening in the company, right? And then move that company from one orbit to another orbit. And let us look at a company in three canvas. Like as a digital officer, as a digital transformation, look at front office, mid office, and back office. And now close your eyes as a digital officer. What are things you want to do, provided you know what is there in your company in the back office? How much to automate? What is happening in a data center in the back office? What is happening in operation centers in Chennai or somewhere you have their back office? Most of your operation teams are there. What is happening in a front office in bank branch or mobile app or internet app or website or kiosk banking? How is the experience into apps? Do you have super apps? Do you have mobile banking with all the features? Do you have an internet banking with all the compliance things which is around there? Are you having all those guidelines implemented on the front office and in the back in the mid office? How is integrated? How your fintech is integrated with the core banking? Is it in aligned with the right regulation, compliance, security practices? Are you having right API architecture? Are you having right SFTP? Are you having right cyber security? Are you having right ESB? So when we look at this canvas, front, mid, and back, and if you start comparing this canvas to other bank or other company, create your own index. Right? Oh, okay, you don't have omnichannel architecture in mid, you have to add. Oh, your core banking is at a older version, you need to add. Oh, your Oracles is not into latest, you need to add. Your operations is too much, 17 people only for something, can you not reduce it with some kind of automation in the bank? You have 7 people for data center forward purpose. Next year also, are you going to add 14? Can you not do some automation there? Keep only 7 there. So in the backup, in front, while you had some gesture banking, which is coming in like invisible banking, don't you have a chatbots, omni-channel architecture, which is in mid? Is it really helping mobile as well as internet as well as the branch banking to talk each other, right? So when you are doing on transaction on mobile banking, it should say your transaction was left in the internet banking. Can you not do it now? Or when you enter in the bank branch as a front office, they should get an incentive or a data of, which is coming from back office. Hey, this customer is having 1 lakh rupees since last 7 months. He is not investing in FD or something. Let me give back something. So I think combination of this front and mid and back is very, very important. So that's a canvas in front of you. Now you create how many systems you want to justify these three offices. Some banks will have a 50, some bank like cooperative banks will have a 25, banks like DCB will have a 180, HDFC will have a 750. You need to fit all these systems in all these buckets and see how they are getting upgraded and how much business operations or automations and how much ROI we are working around that in all this. I think if you have created this work, I think that will help you a lot. In mid or back, having a right technological architecture is very, very important to have a glue between back and front. So first step is that, and I think if you do this, we can always do better job. Now my second framework is like, okay, this is the aspiration to build. How do we do it? So do you have a right people to do that? Do you have a ESB guy? Do you have that big data guy? Do you have that RPA guy? No. Okay, reskill existing people or hire or create that team. So that people part is important, very, very important. People are and buying, right? Whether board members and those top management, are they really willing to buy ESB? In my bank, I told MD sir in 2015, let us go with the ESB. It's very, very important for our transformation. No clue, no knowledge. The decision came. He came to me. I think you were talking in last year. There is ESB. I was in some conference, and my fellow MDs were talking. They are already implemented. Why we are not implemented?
Mhm.
So people part is very, very important. How do you have a right awareness? So in a DCB Bank, we used to create a program called as Tech Fluence.
Mhm.
What is happening out? What is that we should do? That influencing we used to do with all the top management. So they were aware of what are we going to invest as a capex and opex. So that's very, very important.